In this example, we are to use IQ tests, and they're sometimes used to measure a person's intellectual capacity at a particular time. So an IQ scores are normally distributed with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. So if a person scores 119 on an IQ test, how does this score compare with the scores of the general population? So what we have to do with this is, the first thing I would do is, because it's a normal, it tells us that it's normally distributed, we can always draw that bell curve. So I'm just going to show you the numbers. So you start with the bell curve, and you know what in the middle is the mean, which is 100, and then you can go along and say up one standard deviation would be plus 15, add another 15 to get 130, add another 15 to get 145, go the other direction, 85, go the other direction, 75 or 70, subtract 15 again, and you get 50, 55. So these are your z-scores when the z-scores are integers. So integers are plus 1, plus 2, and plus 3, and we have 0, that's what the mean is, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. The z-scores are directly on these blue lines. Now, we're told that the IQ score is 119. So you can see in red, we have that drawn, that it's going to be a little bit more than a z-score of 1. So we know the z-score will be a little bit more than 1. So to find out what the z-score is, we just use the z-score formula, which is z equals x minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. So we substitute the numbers that we know, which are 119, 100, and 15. Then we do the math. We know the answer is going to be 1 point something. It has to be between 1 and 2. So if you enter this in your calculator wrong and you get a number that seems off, and that can happen if you enter it into your calculator wrong, we know that the answer should be somewhere around a little bit more than 1. Now the tables that we have for z-score measure z-score to 2 decimal places. So I would use 1.27 as my z-score. So now we have to use a table to find out what is the area to the left of 1.27, the z-score of 1.27. So this is a z-score that we have for this course. Now you can find different z-score tables on the internet, and you have to be careful about how it's described. So we can see that it's giving us the area to the left of the z-score. So we want 1.27, I think is what it was. So I have to go to the second page, because the first page here is everything to the left of the mean. So now we want 1.27. So how do we do this? Well, 1.2 is right here. But to get 1.27, we have to use the 7 from up here. And we look at where those intersect, and it looks like it is right here. So 0.8980 is what it looks like. So because we have 0.8980, we change that into a percentage to give us 89.8% of IQ scores. So that IQ score of 119 is greater than 89.80% of the IQ scores in the general population.